No, it did or will chiropractic or will exercises alone. It always depends. And then once you get a proper examination and we get to the underlying cause of why you are having a particular situation, it becomes a lot clearer here in this position. Somebody went to one of my old videos where I was talking about vagus nerve and the gut-brain axis or forward head posture. And they said something like, can forward head posture be corrected with exercise alone, or do I need prolotherapy? I don't know if they meant physiotherapy. Forward head posture, can it be fixed with exercise? So obviously, you should know by now my answer was it depends. And the thing is, when I say it depends, remember, that's too easy. That's for people out there that want to be like, oh, it depends, it's complicated, and don't want to take the time to educate you, or maybe they just simply don't have the time. That's okay. I have a few minutes now, so let me educate you on that. Parents nowadays, especially talking to the kids, and we think that it's like this big, newfound, kind of a pandemic of forward head posture because of our cell phones and tablets and kids, and they're addicted to the phones. Yes, make no mistake, I will not argue that fact. Children, young children, adolescents, teenagers, a lot of adults too, okay, are addicted to the phone. Phones are designed that way. Social media, interaction, stimuli, dopamine, we are addicted to our phones. I hope I'm not, as I'm on the phone making a video for clicks. And so what happens is we're on our phones, right? Forward head posture, blah, blah, terrible posture, neck is down. Every, X amount of pounds of forward head posture puts, X amount of pressure on the spine. Could be association with like less, life or expectancy. I think there's a study out there like that. But I look at it like this. When I say it depends, whether or not you can correct it with exercise alone, I think, again, it's all circumstantial as to why you're having forward head posture in the first place. That's the key. So is there a level of ankylosis? Ankylosis is a fancy word for saying that ligaments and bones are beginning to fuse together, like a stiffening or a hardening of bones, in which case somebody might have a predisposition or like a genetic disorder or reason that they have an issue with their spine that's keeping them with what we call like a hyperkyphosis, where they're actually kind of hunched in the back. They can't bring their head all the way back. Somebody like that, it doesn't matter how much exercise you do, it doesn't matter how much adjusting you're doing, we will never correct the forward head posture under that circumstance. You might get relief of symptoms by inducing some passive motion, and you'll notice that we can increase the range of motion going into extension or backwards. We're not correcting it. Like, it's just not getting fixed. So that's answer number one. Number two, is it there because of a, what we would call, upper cross syndrome or upper cross syndrome, depending on what part of the globe you're in. And that's a physiotherapy type of term for a real diagnosis of tight shoulder, anterior carriage, tight pec or chest, shoulder, girdle area, lengthened sternocleidomastoid or trap or rare kind of rhomboid and scapula muscles that are really lengthened. And a lot of the time this happens because of repetitive sitting or reinforced postural mechanics that then begin to set in these really tight muscles. And then you add stress and dehydration and improper diet, and you get what is called upper cross syndrome. And yes, that is a real thing. I see it in my clinic a lot. I don't like to even say it, but the reality is when it's there, it's a real thing. It's not that people have to be made aware of this, because obviously you want to tell your patients the truth. You owe your patients the truth as a provider, a practitioner. But people have to accept that this is a thing. People out there that have this condition, you have to accept, like, yes, you have this upper cross syndrome, but not to wear it as a badge of like, oh no, I'm ruined. It's understanding that it sucks that you got to this point, and it's going to take a lot of work to get out of it. And with proper chiropractic care, as using that segue, the gateway, it's like the gateway drug to beginning to do proper exercises, you can reverse this upper cross syndrome. It takes a lot of work though, guys. I mean, it is not an overnight fix. You cannot go to the chiropractor, get adjusted a few times and be like, look at their posture. I fixed their posture. It doesn't work like that. If that's you and you're like, I know for a fact, like there are people out there, right? Really good at owning up, being very like truthful with yourself. Are you the person that's at work, head forward, chin down, tight back, tight shoulders? If you try to like ever put a lacrosse ball, or if you've ever gotten a massage, like especially in the front part of your shoulders, or your partner is rubbing your shoulders or something like that, like you'll know if it's that tight and painful, that you are probably in that circumstance and you're going to need to do something posturally, repetitively, like making a healthy habit daily to reverse this. And that's number 2. And then number 3, is it a sprain strain? And by the way, there might be 4 or 5 different reasons, but let's just say it's like a sprain strain, meaning one time you remember you churned your head or your neck, or you're playing basketball, or somebody scared you, you got into a fight, I don't know, and your neck starts to really ache. Car accidents, post-car accidents with whiplash, this is incredibly common. Well, what happens is that joint or joints in the neck, usually like a C4-5, a C5-6, they get stuck. The facets get irritated. The disc around and in between the bones of the neck get irritated. When those discs get irritated, you have a sprain strain mechanism at the least. At the worst, it's like a bad disc bulge or a disc tear or disc herniation. We've all heard these terms, I hope. And when that happens, your body goes into a kind of a lockdown protective mode. So your head could be just in forward posture and a little tilted to the side off of a sprain strain that you've never gotten taken care of. So the point I'm making is, if you have that mechanism there and you go to seek chiropractic care, the one that resolves the fastest is usually that simple sprain strain. And those people can get their life back in 1 to 2 adjustments, speaking from clinical experience, just getting adjusted. Oh my God, my neck never felt so good. I wish I did this earlier. Yes, that type of induced forward head posture can be helped with chiropractic drastically. And then exercises might actually not even need to be as important as the other 2 that we just previously talked about. So that is sort of the synopsis of it depends. And I wanted to make a video while I'm doing this and elaborate in my time. I don't ever like to be here for more than 10 minutes under any circumstance. So I'm going to get off this phone now. I hope that helped. You see, will chiropractic or will exercises alone? It always depends. And then once you get a proper examination and we get to the underlying cause of why you are having a particular situation, it becomes a lot clearer, and the course of action to take, and the treatment and the trial of treatment to begin, and usually the results will speak for themselves. All right, guys, have a great day.